Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Show Review with Mike G, the show of life, the show of jazz, the show of France, Jamaica, New York, and so much more. Today's guest is the amazing Ms Franky Marshall. She was recently in town at the Roosevelt Room preaching the gospel and the wonderful flavors of the category Pineau de Charentes. Amazing French aperitif. It's delicious. And we got to sit through and sample with some nice bites as well. Some of the greatest of these Pineau de Charentes that the world has to offer. Ms. Franky herself has a very, very esteemed career, both in music and teaching, has many languages under her belt, and I can't wait to see what she does next. So much intelligence, so much capacity for learning, and so much potential left. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this great chat with Ms. Franky Marshall.
Yes, definitely. I mean, something always drew me to Europe, but particularly to France.
Yeah.
For some reason, I always wanted to learn French.
Any family from France?
No. We're Jamaican, Chinese, Irish, and Scottish.
That's a brilliant mix.
So, but yeah, there was something, and don't want to get too. It wasn't quite fate, but it was definitely something. There was always something drawing me.
Well, something always does to the arts and to these places.
Yeah, definitely. So, that was it. The first time I went there, it was that. I just felt something drawing me back, and that's when I said, I went to school. I did a year in France as well.
What were you studying?
A year abroad. I was French.
Oh,
yeah.
Because you're quite articulate in French.
Well, that was from years of working at it, and that year really solidified it. But then subsequently, you have to practice.
That's right.
Of course.
You lose your muscles if you don't use them.
Exactly.
Right?
And but yeah, there was always something. And it started with the romanticism, and it was just ended up becoming just a place where I just really felt.
Is comfortable the right word? Like
I'm sorry?
At home, maybe. Like something that was kind of familiar?
It's funny because because it was Paris, it was never really at home. I think in Paris you always feel like an outsider in a way.
Oh, yeah.
But it was always something driving me back. It's like that, that maybe that lover that you're really trying to get to love you, but they don't really love, but it's okay. You know what I mean? But you're like, but please, just give me one more chance.
Love.
Exactly.
Yes,
one more chance. And you keep going back, and they keep going, oh, okay. But no, get away from me. Oh, I slap your face.
So temperamental.
Exactly.
Yes, it is that way.
That's my relationship with Paris.
The push and pull.
Push and pull.
So does this story, are you a New York City native? Is that where you grew up?
New York area. In the surrounding areas, okay. Yes. So, but, as I said, I've lived in other places.
Sure. You lived in London, I think, at
I didn't live in London. I did a stage in London. I've been to visit it quite a few times. First time when I was 10 on that trip.
Wow.
But also I lived in Montreal as well, which,
Montreal.
Of course, French-speaking, partially. But yes, I've traveled and lived other places quite a bit.
Did your folks speak any other languages? Were they also?
They spoke patois. Jamaican patois. No, they didn't speak any other. No.
Interesting. So second generation Jamaican, or were they from Jamaica specifically? Your parents, or?
Yeah, they're both from Jamaica. So I'm first gen. Yes.
First gen.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Is it easy to kind of be raised in the States as a first gen Jamaican?
Yeah, I
don't know much about I know about the food conceptually,
Yeah.
but being a Jamaican person, what does that really mean as a kid?
Well, again, because we were, my mother's father's from Hong Kong, so my mother's really, just an Asian woman.
Yeah,
So it was Jamaican, but there's also that other, side to it.
Right.
Plus, with the cousins and my aunts and uncles who married, others.
Right.
It was always a little bit of everything. There was everything.
very sorted, miscellaneous blend.
Exactly. Somebody once said, they showed them a picture of my family, and he said, you look like your family looks like the New York City subway. You know what I mean? You have the brown guy, the white guy, the black guy,
someone's tall,
the red
someone's
hair.
short.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a little bit of you just don't know where anyone's coming from.
Well, then it kind of begs the question because I'm thinking, well, how the hell did your parents meet if they're so different?
Well, but in Jamaica, if you ever go there, there's people from all over.
Oh, it's very multicultural.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's Germans and Syrians and of course Chinese. Chinese are everywhere doing business and
right,
whatever. So it was.
They met there.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Any siblings?
They're halves.
Got it.
They're halves.
It's an interesting thing. So when you think about so you have this study of language, this being immersed in other cultures. And you have this background in music as well.
Yeah.
So you're pursuing language, and you're also academically pursuing music. Where did you study music, and what kind of music?
Well, the funny thing is, when I was in France that I started really. I mean, I sang in this choir.
Yeah.
But and actually, I remember they gave out little prizes at the end of the year, and I remember getting a little tiny fake blender because I needed to learn how to blend in because I was always So yes. But I finally learned how to blend in with the rest of the singers.
Yeah.
But yeah, did the choir and played bass clarinet as well in high school.
Bass clarinet is not real easy. Reeded instruments are fun, but bass clarinet's a big one.
It is, and I didn't find it very sexy. And in high school,
it is not.
It's not at all. So just kind of sitting there like that. But
for the band nerds like myself, it is pretty provocative.
Well, yeah, exactly. And until I, discovered Eric Dolphy, I really didn't think that the bass clarinet was. I really wanted to play clarinet, or sax, but they're out of them. They started distributing them.
Yes.
And it kind of got to me, and they were like, "Well, this is all we have left."
But that's still kind of you
now
stick out, right?
Now looking back, now it's fine.
I mean, now that's like a pretty new.
Yeah.
Gives you street cred.
Right?
Not then.
Yeah.
But now it certainly does.
Exactly. So.
Is it classical? Are you playing mostly classical?
No, it was mostly
jazz stuff?
We played. I mean, kind of. Easy to play classical stuff. Yeah. But yeah, there was some, marching band stuff. There was some just, Christmas time.
Yeah. There's always John Philip Sousa in there.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Philip
Sousa. We played Mazursky, Pictures in an Exhibition, the last two movements of that, things like that. But, so yeah, and then when I was in France doing that year, I just realized that maybe I didn't want to be a French teacher, which I thought I wanted to be, and I actually was in a band over there, and then I thought, why don't I just take the music? Let's
a little step further,
But again, music, as it's you're into music, right? You're a musician,
almost obsessively.
Yeah. What do you play?
I play guitar, bass, sing, saxophone, piano,
right?
All this stuff.
So it can be thankless.
It's. Right. Can be or is thankless?
Well, it is. Well, you know how tough it is.
Yeah.
It's really difficult.
Well, so to summarize that, we both, we've had these experiences in music. I spent, 15 years touring off and on, playing shows and stuff. I got a check from Pandora at one point.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
I'm like, cool, my whole career in music summarized in a check. $15.
Oh, really?
It's like sobering realization.
Yeah.
Music is tough.
Well, and that's why I started to concentrate a little bit more. All through, playing music and that, I was always still working in the restaurant business because that's how I made the money, and then the music was the thing I did for my soul. But
as a vocalist, right?
As a vocalist, yeah. And again, playing those gigs in a basement that smelled like pee, where no one would show up, or
the mics smell like beer,
or no monitors, and the sound guy saying, "Just scream, just yell louder."
Terrible thing.
Yeah, all of that stuff, And
do you like? But having gone through that though, because now you're a little bit wiser, a little bit older. Those are good moments, right?
No, yes, absolutely. I wouldn't trade those at all. It's just, I guess what I was trying to illustrate is that the thread going through at that time and how I made money was working in the restaurants.
Yeah.
So because I had other musician friends I had at that time who would refuse to work.
Really?
Oh yeah, they refused to have a job other than music, and a lot of them were struggling, but their pride was so, their ideals were so lofty,
right.
And I respect that too. But honestly, a lot of them just didn't have any money, whereas I always had money because I worked.
Yeah, I always think that's the smart play. Because if people say, no, you got to dive into the thing 100%, I'm like, you can do music and work a full-time job.
Well, you know, I see both sides of that because some of the musicians I respect a lot, some older musicians, I've read interviews with them where they've just said, you know, I excelled at music because I could not do anything else.
That's interesting.
You know, that's all they had, so they just gave it. So I see both sides.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm curious who influences you as a vocalist. You got a hell of a playlist out there with Billy Joel, Jethro Tull, Hall & Oates, stuff that resonates with me. But for you, like as you perform, what are some things that?
Well, you know, it's all over the place vocally. So I'll be honest. I grew up. My parents listened to everything, everything from, you know, country to like easy listening MOR to classical to of course reggae. You know, and the Haves. A lot of rock and roll. You know, I grew up rock and roll. You know, rock like Zeppelin and all that stuff.
Sure.
So, and then I went through an alternative stage where I was a little, you know, funky. Blah,
Man,
blah.
you got to tell me who you were listening to in that alternative stage.
A lot of different. So I always went back into stuff. Everything from, you know, people like Throbbing Gristle.
Whoa, I don't even know. Yeah, what is that?
What is it?
Yeah.
Cozy.
Yeah.
It's this band that they made like, I don't even know how to describe noise. A lot of kind of
noisy stuff.
Yeah, not very, just, but you know, that's the stuff you listen to when you're trying to be
cool.
Oh, look at me. Look
I'm challenging myself.
Listen to, yeah, exactly. Because I was cool. But you know, it just, I don't know. It was like a search for anything. I mean, I love Stevie Wonder. Oh, yeah. You know, I mean, the music he's written. The Bee Gees. Oh yeah. I love. You know, Chris Cornell is my favorite vocalist who died recently.
Massive influence for me.
Yeah.
So bummed. Still
you know, and just everybody. I mean, you know, classically, I love to listen to Debussy. That's what I listen to a lot when I set up.
It's my favorite.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Right to Spring is Stravinsky, but Clair de Lune is I think the greatest composition ever made. Wow. In my opinion.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I love everything. So that's why it's really hard for me to name because I know I'm leaving a lot of people out, but it's just I'm a music lover.
But so this is the thing that I think now I kind of understand a little bit more clearly is you love lots of things because you're so open to it, and so you have traveled to Spain, traveled to London. There's all these cultures that you've kind of embraced. I mean, you've got the great cocktail competition, so you have some Italian kind of tracing back to the culture. You've got diplomatico rums. You've got all these different things. At what point did you think? Or rather, did the cocktailing or being in the hospitality industry become at the forerunner of your career?
Well, yeah, it was probably around 2008 or 9. So I, you know, as I said, I'd been working in bars and restaurants, and I realized that I knew how to make, you know, the basics. Sure. And I wanted to challenge myself because I do love to learn, and so I sought out a job in a cocktail bar. And it was very hard to get because, especially in New York, if nobody knows you, they're not going to hire you as a bartender in a cocktail bar at all, which I didn't know at the time because I was naive. And so people wouldn't answer my resume, when I submitted resumes. And then finally I saw this listing on Craigslist for Clover Club. And there was something that, it was one, again, it could have been fate, but I looked at that ad and I went, okay, I need to definitely apply and try hard for that job. Right. It wasn't anything really about it, maybe because it was in Brooklyn as well. I was living in Brooklyn at the time. I still do. And I wrote this cover letter and I lied, said that I was familiar with using all different types of ice, which I wasn't at the time, but I knew that was something that people did. And and then they called me, Julie Reiner, Susan Fedorov, called me. I had an interview with both of them, and they hired me, and they said, well, we can't make you a bartender, but, we can make, I said, okay, I'll bar back or I'll serve. I said, okay, well, we'll put you on the floor. So I was a server there, and then and then I got onto the bar there within about a year. Yeah. A little less than a year. And that's when, things started to happen.
Well, you're right front and center in the movement. Yeah. Right? You can't help but get surfed. Like, what is it? Contact high.
Yeah, it will.
Right? Exactly.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it was, because I wanted to get on the bar and I wanted to learn. And at that point, I always say I didn't know what I didn't know. Right. I didn't realize there was so much to this.
It's so vast.
It really, really is. And it grows. The longer I'm in this industry, this aspect of it. I really realized just how much, like, I've done kind of talks on being a modern bartender.
Yeah.
I consider myself a modern bartender because it's not just these days about making drinks. There's so many more aspects to what we're doing.
Well, there's a couple things. So one, I mean, to that point, but actually one, I'm kind of curious. I do think things happen in a fateful way. You know what I mean? And I know because it's like kind of reticent to use that word, but it feels like things kind of line up because they're supposed to line up that way, doesn't it? I mean, for me, it does.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. I mean, definitely in my life, they have. I pay a lot of attention to things like that. Yeah. I'll tell you a secret.
Please.
I'm a low-grade psychic.
Are you really?
Low grade.
I like that a lot. Surface psychic.
Exactly. I don't know when it's coming, but sometimes it comes. And it's
what kinds of things do you pick up on that you're really sensitive to?
I get, my instincts are very strong.
Yeah.
You know, and
about
a lot
people?
of times they're right about things that are going to happen. And sometimes I ignore them. Yeah. And when I do, I think, damn, I knew it. You know, I knew it.
Yeah.
But I don't always act on. That's why I kind of laugh about it. But I do have very strong. It comes and goes. You know what I mean?
No, I love.
But I've seen things that have happened.
Man, I've been talking for some reason. I've been talking about astrology a lot lately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I can't. I've recently subscribed to an Aquarius feed on Instagram.
Oh, you're an Aquarian?
Yeah.
Explains a lot.
I fully wear it on my sleeve. Yeah. We're so
crazy.
Calm though.
No.
But you kind of learn these things, and I never really wanted to put on those Aquarian glasses.
Right. Yeah.
Once you do, and you kind of realize that people are certain kinds of ways.
Yes.
It becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. Although you don't want to pigeonhole people.
No, of course. Not.
but I've definitely seen some consistencies with the signs. I have.
Leos.
Yeah.
God,
well, no, it's right with the people your lovers. Is your lover Leo?
Yeah, my wife's a Leo.
There you go. 6 months apart. I mean, that's
It's, Yeah, and I have this pattern with Leos, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is there.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the fateful thing, and this because it was something I was picking up on. I wanted to kind of talk about it. But the other thing was when you talk about modern bartending, go back to that concept. Branding is a massive concept.
Yep.
Ms Franky Marshall,
Ms.
everyone, excuse me, Ms. That is a decision. That is a branding move.
Yes.
How much do you like that piece of the game?
I'll be honest with you. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I know it's a part of our jobs and my job, but that's the one thing I have a lot of trouble with. I was one of probably the last people to join Facebook. I think I joined in 2012 or something like that.
Yeah.
A little late. And that was only because I had a couple of people in the industry saying, you really need to be on, you really need
it doesn't hurt, right?
It doesn't. But it's just, I'm very, very ambivalent about it though, all of that stuff, because it's, just this whole me, look at me, look at me.
Right.
And I have to do it for certain things, because otherwise, I actually had someone in the industry who shall remain nameless say to me, because I hadn't posted for a while, and he literally said, you haven't been on Facebook for a while, and if you're not on, you're going to become, what was the word?
Obsolete?
Yeah, he said something like that. Yeah, you're going to become obsolete. People,
anniquated? Like these kinds of
words,
right?
It was that. Yeah. I think he may have said obsolete, or he was basically saying that no one's going to, care about what you're doing if you don't keep posting.
God forbid, irrelevant?
Yes. And I was like, he may have used irrelevant. And I was like, are you kidding me? I said, first of all, and he was serious, and he was deadly serious. And so that's kind of the climate with a lot of this stuff, and that's why I find it a bit like, because a lot of people are just posting about the sandwich they had for lunch because they just want to stay in your mind, which,
whatever.
But I try to be very purposeful with the posts that I make, just about like work, things that are work related or something that I care about. But I don't post randomly, and I don't post about politics or anything like that because it's just too. As much as I care about a lot of other things, I want my Facebook profile, my social media to be about just the brand and what I'm doing professionally. I don't want to incorporate actually my real feelings into it.
Do you consider yourself a very private person then? It was hard for me, so I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I do research on everybody that I interview because I want to have a couple points to talk about. Music's always one I'm looking for, to be honest. But sometimes there are big gaps in the chronology, and I can't find anything. And I noticed with you that I got nothing like early days, and I feel like that's intentional.
Yeah. Yes. Next. No, I'm kidding. No, definitely. It's, I like to definitely be in charge of what I call information dissemination.
Yeah. That's definitely interesting. When it comes into this industry, lots of our personal relationships, romantic especially, those become people that you're working with, and you want to keep that stuff relatively private.
People are just out there. It's amazing to me how much people reveal.
Yeah.
Especially in this Austin area, there's a lot going on.
I know there is a whole lot.
So it's very interesting. But that's not a game that I want to play.
Does it? So maybe because I'm a martyr in a way, in a couple of ways, but I feel like being open and allowing people to understand who I am, whether they care or not, doesn't matter to me. I don't know. It kind of empowers me a little bit. Like there's nothing that you can point out that I already know.
That's great. Sense? Yeah, definitely. But I think you hit it when you said whether people care or not. For me, if you don't care, then I definitely don't want to share with you.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm going to talk about myself really in depth, then I want you're looking at me in the eyes right now.
Yeah. Well, that's why I only will do this in person.
Right. So this is to me. But otherwise, I find a lot of people just they ask you about yourself and then they're texting at the same time or they're here and they and meanwhile they're not listening.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to waste my time telling you anything more than very surface, unless you really
absolutely appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's good service, if you will, in a sense. So you've taken New York by storm. I'll just put it that way.
So I wouldn't.
Working at some really great places. Your participation as, a presenter, a facilitator with Tales of the Cocktail. In a short period of time, we're talking maybe 10 years now? Is that
a little less than 10 years? Yeah, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you a lot different now as a person? Have you grown a lot? I would imagine.
Well, I've definitely grown in the sense of I've learned a lot, and I've gone out of my way to try to learn things. And I think I am I don't know, am I different? Probably. But I'm still very much open to, I know I can learn and be influenced by anybody and learn from anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't have this kind of, I know some people have this very much
pompous.
They're a little, they feel like they're always the ones to be imparting the knowledge.
Right.
And as much as I do impart knowledge about certain things, I take as much and more in from wherever I can.
If you're not listening, what are you really doing? So this is the thing, and we'll talk about the Pineau here in a moment, but you're here in Austin talking about a category that's deeply enriched in French culture.
Yes.
Shit, I'm going to sit and listen, right? That's all that you have to know when to just learn from people who experience so much.
Right. Exactly. And I think, and I think that's one thing that's helped me a lot.
Yeah. And
kept me very focused and always, I was about to say always humble. Confident when when I'm confident about something,
right.
But still, I ask a lot of questions and I'm not afraid to just say, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let
me find out.
That's a great quality. Because there's that whole thing, live witness news on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, have you heard of the George Clintons? Like these bands, right? And these bands don't exist. And people are like, oh, yeah, they're great. Like real stripped down sound.
Right, yeah.
How much better would they look? Just like, never heard of them.
Yeah.
You come across a lot differently that way. Now that you've kind of taken on a more social role and a more visible role, when it comes to the presenting, it comes to traveling, how have you adapted to that? Do you enjoy that kind of shift in quality where you're actually setting the tone of the class?
I do. There's sometimes a lot of pressure that comes with it, you know. I think that's self-imposed because usually people are like, don't worry, it'll be fine. But for me, because I've got very high standards about things that I'd like to see and the way that I want to present things. So for me, it's always, there's always that nervous. I was nervous before I came in today, and unfortunately I had to go to bed early last night, and I had to cut the night short in Austin.
Right.
But that's part of it. That's for me. That's what I have to do.
Sure.
To keep myself focused and make sure that everything that I can achieve what I'd like to. So it's definitely something that I don't take for granted at all.
Does it feel similar to those days singing where there is a pitch, there is a crowd?
Well, you know what? I've often, what it's similar to for what I find analogous to music is actually making cocktails. Because with making cocktails, you've got a formula, right? Like a 2-1-1, or whatever your formula is. With music, you've got like a 1-4-5 progression or something like that, right? Yeah. We're all working within a format. There's not much you can really create now, like musically, because a lot has been done already.
Well, or it's totally inaccessible. What's the point?
Right. And then same with cocktails. I mean, we're working within a framework.
Yeah.
You know, you try to put your stamp on that 2-on-1 formula, you know, and you hope people like it.
Yeah.
You know, and you just hope that you can make something palatable that people would remember, that they'll ask for again, just like with music. You want to make that song that people sing along
got a hook,
to.
right?
Or, yeah, exactly. And you know, it is very similar. You're being, you know, you're on a stage. When you're behind a bar, you're very much on stage. People are looking at you. They want to be entertained.
Yeah.
You know, it's very, very similar for me. You know.
Have you been traveling much for this new role, which we'll talk about here in just a moment?
Yeah. Well, honestly, this is I mean, this new thing literally just happened very recently.
Yeah. That's
so
what I felt like.
I was just over in France for this at the end of June.
Oh wow.
So this was my first Pineau presentation. So that's why it was a little, you know, I'm maybe a little extra nervous because again, I was supposed to I need to have a shout out really quickly to Hoke Harden, who was my Pineau partner.
Yeah.
But unfortunately couldn't make it today because of the date change.
Oh, okay.
So, but the two of us went over, and so yeah, it's new. It's new.
It's kind of amazing in a brand capacity. Although this is a category
exactly.
capacity. You're like an ambassador for France, really. In this case.
For
France, yeah.
I know, if only I could meet Macron now. Yes.
But it's like that kind of thing. This was the thing that was found really interesting.
Yeah.
Is I was working with the PR company. I'm like, well, there's no. Normally, it's for a brand, right? But this is not. This is a movement. This is someone representing the interests of France. It's crazy different change, you know?
Well, that's quite a mantle to wear. But no, I agree. Well, that's what I like about it, is that it's a category. Yeah. I don't have to be a brand person. It would be very hard for me to be a brand person because well, anyway, that's another thing. But yeah, so that's what's great. I don't have to sell anything.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a category, and honestly, it's a category that I really enjoy and believe in. Mm. And I just have to, you know, lay out some pearls of wisdom and give people tastes of things. So for me, it's just wonderful.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, definitely.
And again, you know, it was brand agnostic. That's the greatest thing, because we had this tasting of Pineau de Charentes.
Yes.
Is that right? I did.
Charentes.
Charentes. Okay.
Yeah.
I did take French and was there recently, but sometimes I have to ask about the proper.
Of course. Well, you know,
right?
It can be, you know, and you must sound like this. You must be a nasal sound.
But I was introduced to this concept of Pineau.
Yes.
When I spent some time in Normandy.
Yes.
Normandy. And I found it so lovely, this concept of taking a modified version of something and adding it back to the original raw material in a way. So some people might understand that as creme de mezcal. That's kind of the case where you use agave nectar with a mezcal.
Right, okay.
So kind of, it's similar, right? But in this case, you know, Pineau de Charentes, it is this amazing handshake between an intensified version of grapes with a nice, light, beautifully accessible version of grapes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So from your mouth, tell me kind of what this category is, what it means to you, what you see as being the opportunity here.
Well, I see it, honestly, I think the category is very, it can be a lot of things to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
You know, as I was saying earlier, it can be an aperitif. Mm-hmm. It goes really well with food. You can use it as a digestif, or as they say, dessert wine, if you'd like. But it's also really great in cocktails. So I really do think it's approachable from different aspects because there's so many different types and styles. Yeah. Now we don't all have access to all the styles, but between, you know, the young Pinot, so you have white and red, and then the old and the very old. I mean, there's a really great gamme, as they say, a really great range there.
Yeah, okay.
And so for me, if a couple of things I'd like to put forward is that don't let the dessert wine label that you see or the dessert wine kind of statement that you see on labels put you off.
Sure.
Because I know people can be afraid of dessert wines. Oh, it's too sweet, because you know, again, we have the range here. And, you know, just don't be afraid to, again, experiment with it.
Yeah, because so real quick, to your point about the dessert piece, this is Bosch?
Yeah, the Bosch Gabrielsen. Does that actually want to actually have dessert wine on it?
No, it's a very old, though.
Good, exactly, yeah.
Right, so to your point, so I'm smelling it, I'm like, holy shit, there's like malolactic kind of almost cheesy, funky farm notes in it, right? Like, which is amazing because you get that in French cheese.
Yes, exactly.
Very much piece of the terroir. So this is not it does not read sweet, right?
Exactly. And this is that très vieux, that one, or is that vieux? That's très, I think it's.
Yeah.
Très?
Très, yeah.
Très, yeah. So we're talking about 10 years, right? 10 years of aging. So that's, substantial.
Yeah, it's so crazy how this smells.
And that's, most people, if they're familiar with Pinot, they're familiar with young ones, which is fine. But I just want to, everyone to know that there's a lot more to it than, maybe I'll take a little taste of that just to refresh my memory.
I really think you should, because this nose on this thing, I love how it tastes. It smells like straw. It smells like farm animals.
From
it
the
really
back,
does, but in a great way.
Yeah, that Baca. So again, it's that's what's exciting for me about it. And it really, and of course that it's made with 1 quart of cognac, and I also work as a cognac educator. Yeah. So for me, the tie-in was there. It was really a match that was.
Did they come to you, or did you come to them?
No, they came to me. Well, it's a long thank you. It's a long story, but the short version is, as working as a cognac educator, I was on the radar of the people who work with Pineau.
Right.
And so they asked me to, and myself and Hoke, who's also a cognac educator, to get involved. So that was really why.
It's strange how that comes full circle. Yeah, so real quick, you get that farm kind of
definitely.
It's so cool because it smells like the protected cheeses, the AOC cheeses.
Definitely.
Camembert or Pont de Vec. Is that what it is?
Pont de Vec is one. Yeah, I mean, Epoisse is another AOC cheese.
It just reminds me of just being out there in the green, in those hills.
Yeah. You were there recently, you said?
Yeah, recently.
What were you doing?
It's my honeymoon. Went to Calvados and Paris and Epernay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
It was not a bad trip.
Wow. How long were you up for?
We were out there about 2 weeks. Spent 3 or 4 days in Pineau, Normandy.
Nice. I've never been to Normandy.
Oh my gosh! But this takes me there. This is the great thing.
Yeah.
People, they crave out of agave.
Yeah.
Right? Mezcal, because it takes you to the place, the terroir, the transportative nature of it. This does this.
Yes. Well, honestly, the one thing I do love about mezcal is this is how I drink mezcal with food. I just neat with food, and I find mezcal a lot like wine, a lot like cognac, Pinot, that you can actually, there's so many different styles, you can actually have it to accompany a meal. Yeah. Very satisfying. So yeah.
It really, really is.
And terroir driven, definitely.
God, it's just, I love it. And this was an exceptional one. This was the last mark that we got to taste out of 9, which is, I'm surprised I'm still sitting up straight here. But knowing that there's this challenge.
Yeah.
People know cognac. They don't know brandy.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
People know dessert wines. People know aperitifs.
Yeah.
But they don't understand Pineau. They don't understand the Pinot de Charentes. Like, for you, if you had that one target, what is the one target for you that says, this is how I can resonate with consumers to say, you guys should try this, and I know that you'll love it? The critical path.
I think that is the $100,000 million gazillion question. No, that's a great question, and that's the one that, I'll be totally honest with you, not exactly sure yet what that should be.
Yeah.
As I said, they already have dessert wine on certain labels. For me, that's not the goal.
Oh yeah.
So, perhaps more moving into the aperitif category, I'd say.
Yeah.
Aperitif, whether it's neat or whether it's, as we had today, with tonic, or like a long drink with soda, or it's great with sparkling wine also.
I bet.
So probably something like that initially, and then moving into the, meal accompaniment.
Yeah.
And for chefs, cooking with it as well.
Oh my gosh. Brilliant.
People like mussels with Pineau or whatever. Like, why not try some Pinot in there instead? That kind of thing.
I bet it caramelizes wonderfully.
Yeah, definitely. Especially these, like something like this has an older, a little age on it for sure.
And it's pretty cost effective too.
It is.
How much? How much roughly would you say a bottle of Pinot would run?
You can get a decent, a good brand bottle for, in New York anyway, around $22.
Oh, it would be less here, probably about $20.
Yeah. So definitely manageable. And then, but that's the thing. And then you can go all the way up for those people who want something that's, maybe more luxury or
like this
that's
guy right
higher
here.
end. You can pay a lot more if you'd like. So it's there for you.
And always serve it slightly chilled? Is that kind of the thing?
Definitely. Absolutely. It has to be chilled, yes.
Yeah.
But not freezing cold.
Right.
Because obviously as it warms up, more of the aromatics are going to come out. But definitely chilled, yeah.
It's an amazing thing, and I think it's a category again because people know cognac and they love cognac.
Yeah.
What if I told you could have cognac
Right.
in the most sexy way possible?
Yeah.
Right? Slightly chilled. I mean, that is what this Pinot is all about for me. It was an eye-opening thing to see that as well.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad. And first of all, thank you for being here.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And today, and that's all we wanted was just to maybe open people's eyes, certain people who didn't know about it, or for the people who knew, maybe just give them a chance to try some different expressions that they haven't tried, or experience them in cocktails. Because there hasn't been a lot of Pinot education.
Not at all.
And
I'm glad to see that 2 of those marks are from PM Spirits, so Nicholas Palazzi,
exactly,
a New York resident, amazing dude, Palazzi.
Yes, have you interviewed him?
I've not. We've tried.
Okay.
We've been back and forth about it, but his stuff is insane. And to start with one from him, and to end with one from him, that shows the amazing range of the category. Yeah, definitely. Beautiful, but in such different ways.
Yeah, I have to say, Mr. Palazzi, he's a real character, and he's been really great with as much as he's very opinionated and disagrees with certain things, whatever. But at the same time, he's always been really willing to give samples. Yeah. And to donate product and that kind of thing. I mean, all the brands have donated product, but
his stuff he doesn't have a lot of.
Well, that's exactly that. That Jackie Navarre and the Ramnou, no, you don't see.
Right.
And so we're really lucky to be able to get.
It's amazing. I just feel lucky to be able to be alive in a time like this. You know what I mean? Like so much information, great personalities, the sharing of spirits that made their way halfway across the world. Yeah. To end up here at the Roosevelt Room. I mean, kind of an astonishing thought.
And we're very lucky. I think about that a lot. I mean, the places I've been able to travel, the things I've been able to learn, the people I've been able to meet because of spirits and wine and just liquids and this industry. It's been incredible.
It's been an incredible journey. I'm very appreciative of this moment, especially on a Monday afternoon drinking Pinot with you, which is a brilliant, brilliant thing. So I've got 2 questions left for you, and you're going to head over to Odd Duck for happy hour. This one I'm kind of curious about, and of course for me this changes all the time because I ask people this every time. But let's say you're sipping whatever spirit you want at any bar in the world, and you can have a conversation, deep intellectual conversation with anybody, living or deceased. And again, this changes, right? Maybe you were listening to Billy Joel earlier, and but who might you like to have a conversation with?
Oh, man, I asked.
It's loaded.
I thought we said no tough questions.
That's not tough.
That was in my writer.
That is so not tough.
Okay, there's no writer. That is really hard because I don't. I mean, there's been so many people that I've admired, and I don't know. Wait, what's the next question? Let me get back. Can I
sure.
just do
take some time to ponder
one, Alex?
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to it because I have to. I just have this sense of completion for me.
All right. Okay.
Well, now that you've tasted some, again, agnostic brand work, because again, it's not really aligned to any particular brand. Does this change your opinion about perhaps working for a single brand in the future?
The fact that I'm still bartending and still. I still enter competitions, and I'm going on a trip with a brand for a competition I won in about a week. I still really enjoy that aspect. So, when you're the brand person, you're that brand.
That's right. Yeah.
What's great for me about working with these categories is that I can still do whatever I want and not feel guilty or anything like that. So, I can't even think of one brand right now that I'd really want to work for more than just doing what I'm doing now, plus the bar.
General education, ultimately.
Exactly. Yeah. So, because that's what I've always really enjoyed, is the educational aspect.
Yeah. Well, in a way, you are teaching French.
Yeah, that's true.
And it comes back.
Hey, you know what? Wow, I never thought about it that way.
Mind blown.
That's
both
deep.
Of us.
Oh
Bam.
my God! Yes. Yeah,
things definitely come full circle.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's interesting. But if you're a brand out there, make me an offer.
See, it's not right until it is.
Offer. Exactly.
So, and I'm sure there'll be something, or maybe there won't be. Maybe you want to own your own place, whatever, right?
I've had a few. Of course, not of course, but I have had a few. People interested. But everybody, if you're a New York bartender right now, chances are you've had, somebody approach you about something. So, but
we'll see how it evolves. I'm gonna stay tuned and see. How this kind of piece expands, and if you do in fact start being the face
we'll see. You know?
But of course, that just bought you time for me to circle back to the second to last question.
All right. You know what? All right. I'm just going to go easy because, I want to talk about music. I'd love to talk, I think, to Miles Davis just because he was such a hard ass.
Yeah.
And just such a, worked in various like styles.
Right.
Of, towards the end when he was doing the electronic stuff and covering Cyndi Lauper, of course. And so, I don't know what how that conversation would go.
But it'd be exciting to see.
Yeah. He'd probably be like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? So I don't know about that. But it'd be interesting to talk to Miles. And then I'd probably want to just talk to maybe we get Julia Child in there. We could talk about some food,
wow.
Or even going, and then I don't know, maybe... I don't know. And then someone, in politics or something, to explain kind of if they know what's happening now.
Yeah, what the
Some
hell
dead politician.
Right.
Could you have foreseen this?
Did you do that? Did you contribute to this?
Yeah, was there anything to do with you? So, yeah, I don't know. Just off the top of my head, those are just...
It's good. Those are great people. God, Miles Davis. If he could stay awake long enough to chat with me.
Right,
Step away from heroin just a little bit, it'd be fucking great.
And just, is... Just where he came from, and just that music that was so iconic. Of course, he's not the only one. There's so many others.
And
but,
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Right,
I know. So many that
and just he was so photogenic, also. That beautiful,
really soft skin.
Right? Yeah, he had that skin, and and his father was a dentist, and he just came from a different type of. He went to Juilliard, and a lot of people know that, and he was trained.
Yeah.
Whereas, so many other musicians just kind of came up out of nowhere and just did their own thing. So, yeah, I think Miles is very interesting.
That's amazing.
He's
And there's a picture of him in here, too.
Yeah, I saw that next door. I think I got a picture of it. Yeah.
So we're surrounded by Miles in a way.
Exactly. Miles and Miles and Miles.
And Miles.
Miles.
Beautiful. Well, I can't wait to see what happens next for you.
Well,
Ms. Franky, I had to get the Ms piece in.
Please, Franky with a Y.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mike G.
Yeah,
thank you for Monsieur Michel G.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for coming today to the class, and I really appreciate this. So thank you.
Absolutely, great experience, and I hope to keep in touch. And
please do.
Gonna keep trying to. So this is a fucking great juice, man. All of them were good.
Yeah.
There's not anybody I've ever met that wouldn't like any of these.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
That's it.
That's the thing. Know your guests, know your audience, know your consumers, so that that's the thing with what we do behind the bar. You've got to know how to direct people to what they want to drink.
That's right.
So.
And you can find something to these every single time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll chat soon, yeah?
Ciao.
Thank you. Well, there you have it, introducing me and many to the category of Pineau de Charentes. Ms. Franky Marshall, a staple in the New York cocktail scene, a multi-linguist, a world traveler, a musician, a Renaissance woman. It was great getting to sit down and chat with her about all things life. There's lots of media out there about Ms. Franky, but this is stuff that I have never read before. These are great to hear about her experiences, and great to sip some of this amazing French aperitif with her. So thanks everybody for listening to Show to V with Mike G. No matter how much longer you have to wait to watch Stranger Things Part 2, Season 2, or if you're thinking, I don't know when the Oscar race is really going to start and I don't know who's out and ahead, but I want to see more movies this holiday season, please keep dancing.